Hi everyone, Flaming Footy here and welcome back to a new video on the channel. And today guys, I'm going to be doing my AFL 2024 round reviews and round previews. Start off with the previous round review and then head into the round preview. So starting off with the round 5 review, Brisbane Lions defeated Melbourne by 22 points Thursday night at the MCG. Huge win for their year. They are getting it back on track and it could have been by more as the Demons just looked completely off in this game. Friday night, the Western Bulldogs lost to the Bombers by 29 points. Essendon defeated the Western Bulldogs in a huge upset. There were many upsets this round, in round 5, many close games. This was one of them, with the Bombers winning. The Western Bulldogs definitely under pressure now, and the Bombers did release some of the pressure that was there, playing a great game of footy. The Giants survived a giant scare against St Kilda to win by 1 point at Manuka Oval. This was a cracking final quarter. The Giants led for most of the game, but they were plenty of injury blows out of it as well. The Crows defeated the Blues by 2 points in a high-scoring, rapid, fast-paced game at Marvel Stadium, where the Blues, the close king finishers, could not get it done on this occasion. Gold Coast defeated the Hawks by 53 points on the Saturday night up on the Gold Coast, and Port Adelaide defeated Fremantle by 3 points at the Adelaide Oval. Despite the Dockers leading for most of the game, this was a thrilling contest the whole way through. The Cats defeated North Melbourne by 75 points in Geelong to start off the Sunday footy action, and then West Coast finished the round off with another upset, defeating the Tigers by 39 points in the West in a game where they definitely brought their A game, the West Coast Eagles, and looked brilliant. And the buys for round 5 was Collingwood and Sydney. Here is the ladder heading into the round. GWS and Geelong are both undefeated at the top of the ladder. You can have a look at the rest of the ladder if you would like. And then down the bottom, we have Hawthorn and North who will be clashing off this round in the Battle of the Winless. And having a look at the Coleman Medal leaderboard, Jesse Hogan is in first with 18 goals, second Charlie Kono 17, and third Bailey Fritsch 16. Time for the round 6 preview. Thursday night is going to be a huge game at Marvel Stadium between the Saints and the Western Bulldogs. Western Bulldogs very well under pressure now heading into the 2024 season. They start off the year in a rough way, got a couple of really good wins against the West Coast Eagles and the Gold Coast Suns, and now have just failed to get a few wins in the last couple of weeks. Their effort against Geelong was pretty good, but last week against Essendon, was not too great. So they definitely need to respond, and they probably will. They might respond. The Western Bulldogs and most AFL teams are known for when they need to, they can put on a really good game. And the Saints, they've been choppy as well the last few weeks. Not quite sure how they are going as well. So it's going to be a huge game, and the winner, so important, but probably more important for the loser as well. We're going to be learning a lot about these two sides on Thursday night. Under the roof at Marvel Stadium, the Saints do pride their defensive game, but it could be a high-scoring one as well. I think the Saints will be too good here, winning by 10 points, but I wouldn't be surprised if Western Bulldogs responded. This game could really go any way, in any direction. Friday night is going to be Crows and Essendon at the Adelaide Oval. Essendon did respond last week with their big win over the Western Bulldogs at Marvel Stadium after their disappointing gather-round effort against the Power the week before. And the Crows, well, they were 0-4. They're now 1-4. They defeated the Blues by 2 points in a great game, Marvel Stadium. That would boost their confidence. Plenty of players had great games that would boost their confidence. The Crows decided to go a bit different in the midfield with Rochelle Rankin in there. Their forwards were on, and that could really spark the resurgence of their year. Their forwards are confident, and they'll probably go with the Rochelle Rankin in the midfield mix again, change up a couple things. And Essendon, they'll also be feeling good after their win over the Western Bulldogs. They do know how to beat the Crows on the Adelaide Oval. I do think the Crows will be too strong, though. I think that win against the Blues away from home came at the perfect time. I think they'll win by 14 points, but this is another 50-50 game. First game Saturday is also another 50-50 game. Round of great games this round. It's going to be Collingwood and the Power at the MCG. Port Adelaide, not the best team in the world at the MCG, but they do know how to get the job done there. And the Pies, well, they need a good performance. They had the bye last week, and they really need to put a good performance forward to show that they're going to come back and they're going to revitalise their year. Because so far it hasn't been too great for Collingwood. That gather-round performance, the last game they played against the Hawks, was not very impressive, to say the least. They got out to a big lead and then just tried to save the game from the third quarter, and it was a bit weird the way they tried to play that one and only won by 5 points. Back onto their home deck of the MCG, I think they will put a good performance. They'll be refreshed after the bye. I think they will beat the Power by 15 points, but this could be a cracking game of footy. Twilight at Marvel Stadium will be Carlton and the Giants. Of course, both these two sides did lose a few injuries last week, including the main one being Sam Taylor for the Giants and Adam Sard for the Blues. So both missing a few important players, but this is going to be a great game. You've got big forwards everywhere. Charlie Curnow, Harry Mackay, Jesse Hogan, Aaron Cadman. There's going to be some big names on show in this game. The Crows did hold the Blues in the end due to their defence. They did do pretty well, the Adelaide Crows, and the Giants do have a great defensive group. However, they will be without Sam Taylor. I do think the Giants will still just be a little bit too strong, defeating the Blues by 7 points. But look, this one should be a great game. Saturday night, speaking of great games, we have another one. It'll be the undefeated Cats taking on the Brisbane Lions up at the Gabba. Charlie Cameron will be free to play in this game, so that is a huge boost for Brisbane in a must-win game for their year. It's at the Gabba, a ground that they normally, traditionally play quite well at. They went undefeated there last year, but they have lost their 2 games there so far this year to the Blues and to the Pies. They'll be looking to try and win this one against the Cats to try and revitalise their season after good wins over Melbourne and North Melbourne in the last 2 weeks. They want to add Geelong to that list, but Geelong are going to want to stay undefeated, and their ground, like everywhere across the ground, is all in perfect shape for them at the moment. Midfield looks good, forward line looks good, and defence looks good as well. And just based on that, it's hard to not tip them. So I've tipped them by 3 points this game, but I think it will be an absolute thriller. Saturday night at Optus Stadium is going to be the Derby, West Coast and Fremantle at Optus Stadium. Well, West Coast, great win for them last week. They needed a good win, and they got one. Yes, it was against an undermanned Richmond backline, but look, they did play very well, and their midfield looked good. The defence, with the names of McGovern and Barras back there, played well. Brady Hoff also played an important role. And then their forwards, mids, all looked pretty good last week against the Tigers. And Fremantle, their defence has been a great area of their game. They've been able to hold teams to really low scores, but they haven't been able to kick a score themselves, which does leave them vulnerable. And if you can pick up a few goals against the Dockers and challenge them, you can definitely win the game. And the Dockers haven't quite been able to play out games well. So if you are within a goal or two in the last few minutes, it is not over yet against the Fremantle Dockers. So this is going to be a good game this week. I think the Eagles will definitely take it up to the Fremantle Dockers, and I do think it'll be a close game. It'll be low scoring because the Dockers do like to play on their defence. They're such a great defensive side. I think Fremantle will just get the win by 20 points. I think West Coast will challenge and play really well, but I do think Fremantle will be that bit too strong. Sydney versus Gold Coast, first game on the Sunday at the SCG. Sydney off the bye. Their last performance in gather rounds against West Coast was a little bit concerning in the week before that against Richmond as well. So they're coming off a bit of a rough patch here, the Sydney Swans, back to their home ground of the SCG, though, to play Gold Coast, who do know how to beat them on this ground, and Gold Coast played pretty well the week of gather round against the Giants, and last week against the Hawks, they played really well. So they're coming off 2 pretty good rounds. They didn't quite win against the Giants, but they did play pretty well. And last week against the Hawks, of course, we know they played well. So this is going to be a good game. They could definitely get the upset win on the SCG, as they've done it many times before against the Sydney Swans. I do think the Swans will be a little bit too strong. They're winning by 23 points, but I think this will be a good game of footy. Damien Hardwick not afraid to play the kids, and it'll be good to see how the Gold Coast Suns go. Now to the final game of the round, North Melbourne versus Hawthorn at Marvel Stadium. Battle of the winless, as I said before, 18th versus 17th. And of course, the loser of this game will be alone on the bottom of the ladder with no wins at all, and all the other teams will have at least one. So, got to win this game. You don't want to be the team on the bottom of the ladder. Hawthorn, it's been interesting how they've gone this year. They've played a couple of good games and a couple of disappointing games. And while North Melbourne, same thing. They've played a couple of good games where they've tested some size, and then they've played a couple of games that just haven't really been in them at all. So, this will be interesting to see. I do think the Hawks will get the win here by 16 points, but this one could go either way. And North Melbourne and Hawthorn, of course, they both need a win. I think the Hawks will win by 16. I think they'll be a bit too strong, a bit more experienced than North Melbourne. But yeah, simply for these two sides, just got to get a win. And the bias this round are Melbourne and Richmond, who will be playing Anzac Eve Wednesday night in round 7, which will also be back to a full 9-game round. And then from there on until we go back to like round 12, it'll be 9 games. So my tips this round are St Kilda, Adelaide, Collingwood, GWS, Geelong, Fremantle, Sydney, and Hawthorn. Should be a great round of footy. And here is the ladder after round 6. I still have Geelong and GWS being the undefeated sides, although they are both playing in 50-50 games. As you can see, I do have North Melbourne down the bottom being the only side yet to register a win. And then also quite a few teams at 4-2 and 3-3 in the middle of the ladder. So, look, it'll be interesting to see how this round goes. Should be a great round of footy. There's some really exciting games. Anyway, though, feel free to let me know your thoughts in the comment section. Thank you guys all so much for watching. Please do make sure to leave a like and subscribe and hit that notification bell. Seeing you guys next another video on the channel. Thank you guys all so much for watching. Bye everyone. Flame Footy out.